Welcome to the Flophouse. I'm Elliot Kalin, and this is a Flophouse Mini. That's right, it's an off week. We're not talking about a movie, or are we? We're not. And we're going to be talking about some other things that are movie-related, maybe, or maybe not. I'm joined here by my regular
wow, you're really being
co-hosts.
cagey.
Yep, their
Sorry.
names are...
Dan McCoy.
And
Stuart Wellingtown.
what a great couple of co-hosts. And you know what? Before we get into this mini, I just want to tell you how much fun I had with these two guys appearing in front of 4 amazing audiences as part of our West Coast Errors Tour. Now, we've released a couple of those episodes on the feed already, I believe, right, Dan? This is our first episode that we're recording back after the tour, and we had such a good time. I just want to say thanks to everybody who came to see those shows. Thanks to everybody who came up to us afterwards and told us how great we are. Thanks even to the people who came up and had criticisms for us that I guess we'll take into account. We'll take them to heart.
Yeah, they seem to be really reading you the riot act.
Yeah. Well, there's
But
some stuff.
I think that was just Hodgman though.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah. But he really was. In that he literally told me I could not riot. and I
No,
had to riot.
Hodgman was very kind to us. The civilians were kind to us, and our other network hosts were very kind to us.
Yeah, our fellow
Well, that was
comedy and
because-
podcasting people.
Hodgman came up before while you were still getting your stuff together, and he was like, "I'm the third Peach. It's me, John, host of the Flophouse."
Yep. He was carrying a skateboard around.
Hello, fellow beaches.
Just like you. That's how he tricked you.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "That's Dan, right? He's got a skateboard."
So we had
what I'm known for.
I want to thank the people of Vancouver, the people of Portland, San Francisco, and I want to thank the people at Sketchfest, and I want to thank the people of Los Angeles. You guys were all great. I hope we get to see you again sometime. We probably won't be on the West Coast again very soon. But
I
we'll be
mean,
doing
you're there right now.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, true. I'll be there.
Checkmate.
I am there right now. Good point. You know what? Put me in jail. You're right. Put me in lie jail. I'm wrong.
I'm just gonna add it to the scoreboard.
Stuart's once again on the board, as you'll find out about next week in the episode that we already recorded today, but which won't come out till next week.
Oh boy, we're in that Mr. Show sketch, the pre-taped call-in show.
Yeah. So we do have a show coming up in May in the UK. We're hoping to plan some other live shows, but we're done talking about that now. The tour went great. Thanks everybody for coming to the show. We're going to talk about the other big event of this year besides the Errors Tour. This is a big year. Dan, there's a presidential election coming up.
Oh.
There's all sorts of bad things going on. Also,
Yeah.
there's probably some movies coming out this year. But the biggest, most important event of the year has already happened. It happened over a month ago. Guys, can you guess what it is, the most important thing that happened in 2024?
Over a month ago. So it's now February.
Uh-huh.
Over a month ago.
When's Toyota-thon?
You know what? I don't know. That's one of the questions that man has been pondering for millennia. When's
It's not the
Toyota-thon?
Honda Days. Honda Days is in December.
I'll tell you guys, at the very beginning of this year, January 1st, Mickey Mouse entered the public domain.
Oh,
we
right.
did it, everybody. We did it. Pew, 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 pew,
Finally.
pew.
Yeah.
Air horn,
We
air
have-
horn, air horn.
We have
did
access
it.
to that one very specific version of Mickey Mouse.
Well, we have access to the original Mickey Mouse cartoons, Steamboat
Yeah.
Willie, the Gallopin' Gaucho, and the silent version of Plain Crazy. Not the sound version of Plain Crazy, everybody. That doesn't enter the public domain until next year. But after many years of Disney fighting it, trying to extend that protection, finally we have the earliest Mickey Mouse in the public domain to do whatever we want with. Guys, are you familiar with what the public domain is?
Sort of. Yeah, it means that it's not covered under copyright law.
Is that where if you get in trouble, they put you in the stocks and throw like tomatoes at you?
You're both right. Yes, if you use a copyrighted character, they put you in the stocks and they throw tomatoes at you. But yeah, it means
But
that
for the reason that, for instance, It's a Wonderful Life became a perennial holiday favorite is that it fell out of the public domain, meaning that people didn't have to pay to broadcast it every year, so they did, and then it became a big beloved favorite. Like I said, when it was initially not such a success.
And
Oh, like
Dan's-
Night of the Living Dead?
Exactly. Well, and Night of the Living Dead. Well, Night of the Living Dead is one of
Night
the
of the Living
saddest
Dead.
stories in the public domain world because they literally forgot to put a copyright notice on the
Yeah.
film, and so it was instantly in the public domain. And George Romero didn't see any of that cash. But Dan is right that that It's a Wonderful Life literally fell out of the public domain. The public domain is a giant who has huge hands, and he holds all the things that are copyrighted, but he's still got space between his fingers.
Domain.
And so It's a Wonderful Life fell out. And so the public domain, it's based on this idea, right? You copyright something, and the idea is, I created this thing. I should get to make money off of it for a certain amount of time to reward me for creating it. And then at a certain point, I stop making money off it. It becomes part of our common cultural clay. Now, as a creator of things, I like copyright because it means cha-ching for me and my heirs for a certain amount of time. All that horse meets dog money is going to come in pretty handy to my heirs as soon as it pays off its advance. Please buy my picture books.
Shiftless layabout sons. I'm projecting into the future.
Yep, exactly.
And for a second, I thought you were saying all that horse meat, and I'm like, Elliot, don't brag about your horse meat addiction on the podcast.
I have to go to France for it. It's very expensive just for the flights. But there's a lot of stuff that enters the public domain kind of each year because the copyright runs out. And this year, there's a whole bunch of them. It's mostly stuff from 1928. There's some sound recordings from 1923.
Finally, I can get my hands on this.
Finally, the original recording of Yes, We Have No Bananas is free to use. Alex, throw it in the background. Who's gonna stop us? Eddie Cantor? Sorry, Eddie Cantor. Nothing you can do about it. Public domain, and you're dead. Play the whole song. Alex, I hope right now, Yes, We Have No Bananas, the original Eddie Cantor version is playing. Also, the original theatrical, like the song lyrics for Animal Crackers, we can just sing those that Marx Brothers play. That's public domain now. A lot of great silent movies. The Cameraman, Passion of Joan of Arc, Speedy, The Wind, The Crowd. They're all public domain now. Alex, throw the Passion of Joan of Arc in the background. Play that silent movie. If Yes, We Have No Bananas.
Right now.
Yep. You know what? Cut. Yes, We Have No Bananas. Play the soundtrack. Play the dialogue from Speedy, the Harold Lloyd movie. There isn't any. That's the joke. Anyway, we've obviously got a lot of experience with the public domain. Stuart, what have you done with public domain stuff?
Well, let's see. I've written a lot of spec scripts. I've drawn some, say, questionable
if you're writing
artwork.
spec scripts for things that are in the public domain, you're doing it wrong. I just gotta tell you that. Because
Where were you when I was writing them, Dan?
Oh boy, yeah.
I wasted all this time.
Stuart was like, I hope I can get the rights to Hansel and Gretel, or else I'll never be able to produce this.
I guess I'm wrong. I guess if you're using characters that are in the public domain, then that's a good idea. But
no one can stop you.
I'm just thinking of spec scripts in the old sense of like you're writing for like a sitcom.
See,
I don't think there's a Hansel and Gretel sitcom currently in production that you can try and get on.
That's what a spec script is. I thought it was written on some cured Italian meats.
I mean,
that is a kind of spec.
It just means
that's
that
very
no
true.
one's paying you for it yet. So I guess use
now,
it as all.
Speaking of, a lot of books entered the public domain in the United States. I mean, every country has its own copyright laws. In the United States, so many books entered the public domain this year. Finally, you can have all these characters meet each other. Dan, I know you love H.G. Wells's work, right?
He's fine.
Finally, you can use H.G. Wells's amazing character, Mr. Bletsworthy on Rampole Island, which is now in the public domain. This classic character of Mr. Bletsworthy.
Dan, why aren't you writing this down? This is important. You can
mostly
work on
because I don't know how to spell Blutsworthy.
Yeah, and also Tarzan. And Tarzan is now
okay.
is in the public domain now too. Anyway, so Dan, I know you love Agatha Christie.
Finally, all of my drawings are legal.
Dan, I know you love mystery novels, right?
Mm-hmm.
You love Agatha Christie. Finally,
Uh-huh.
her classic novel is in the public domain, The Mystery of the Blue Train, a book that I had never heard of until I saw it listed on a public domain list of things that are in the public domain now.
Mystery has a blue train. I got to read this.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What's the secret?
I don't know. It's like a blue house, and they live there, and they're blue, and everything is blue. I don't know.
Yeah, the train, instead of going choo-choo, it says dabu-dee, dabu-die while it's going through. Yeah. And it says, instead of saying, I think I can, it goes, I think I'm blue, I think I'm blue. Although, the little engine that could is also blue. Dabu-dee, dabu-die.
Yeah. Wow. I'm learning so much. This is a really informative episode. File this one under informative, not comedy.
Yeah. So anyway, this is, who does a lot with the public domain? Disney. So it's ironic that they've been trying to keep Mickey Mouse out of the public domain, but so much of their classic hits are in the public domain. Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Alice in Wonderland, Cinderella, Frozen. It's all public domain stuff. I'm currently writing a Hercules comic book series for Dynamite Comics based on the Disney character. All that Greek myth stuff is in the public domain. It's not trademark Zeus anymore. He can't sue me. Sorry, Zeus. Can't sue me. And without the public domain, Disney comes up with stuff like Brother Bear or Home on the Range, not their top drawer stuff. you know. So anyway, here's the disappointing thing about using the public domain is that it means anyone can use it, not just people who have a good idea. So Mickey Mouse suddenly is in the public domain. What do people do with him? They mainly make
they blood and honey him up.
exactly.
Like,
they did just like they did with
wouldn't
Winnie
it
the
be
Pooh.
twisted if he murdered people?
Dan, wait, I want to spend more time with this character, Dan.
Oh man, Dirty D McSee makes up an appearance.
Sherlock Holmes is in the public domain now. Wouldn't it be twisted if he was the killer?
Yeah, Dirty D, Dirty D.
wow.
What other public domain characters can be killers now?
I don't know, man. Well,
What do you-
Harold
what do you get-
Lloyd from Speedy. What if he was a killer?
What the longest
man.
in-print children's book, Millions of Cats, is in the public domain now. Dirty Dan, what should we do with millions of cats?
Millions of cats. Imagine if they all killed each other.
Okay,
Call
Lady-
those down battle royale
That's
style.
practically deranged.
That's great. Okay, Lady Chatterley's lovers in the public domain now. What should Lady Chatterley do, Dan? Dirty Dan.
Maybe we should turn her from being a lover to a killer.
Okay,
wow.
what about the Three Penny Opera? Let's make it twisted.
Well, isn't that already about a killer?
It was a trick question. It's already twisted. It's already
Okay.
it already is. Okay,
Oh,
so
thank God.
so
Something took
sadly,
over my body. I'm glad it's gone now.
yeah, we were able to get that spirit out. And it's very frustrating to me that it's like, oh, people can do whatever they want with these characters. They just turn them into murderers, or they just make
Yeah.
them have sex with each other. And someday, in the not too distant future, like the Marvel and DC heroes, the earliest ones, are going to be in the public. I think it's about 10 years from now that the earliest Batman and Superman stories enter the public domain,
Yeah.
and they're just going to have them have sex with each other and kill each other.
I don't know how to tell you this, Elliot, but there's already a lot of images of those characters having sex with one another.
Yeah, where do you
Oh,
find those?
Prove it.
Available.
Prove it. Do you have a PowerPoint presentation that would prove this to me?
I just might. That's a reference for people who saw the shows on the tour. But
Mhm.
anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, Dan scoured the local train yards to find hastily made hobo porn of Batman and Superman doing it.
This porn means that a nice lady lives inside who'll give you a pie.
Yeah.
So, guys, I wanted to talk to you about how to showing people how to do the public domain right. Okay,
Okay.
we're going to take a few newly in the public domain properties, and we're going to do it right because it feels like what
Okay.
people want from Mickey Mouse is not to see him killing people. They want to see him doing like fun, funny stuff, like he in theory did in the 30s. But when you watch those cartoons, they're not hilarious, you know.
Yeah, you're not.
They
slapping
are
your knees
funnier
off.
than later Mickey cartoons, however, where he just sort of like was an affable suburban guy with a dog.
Yeah, that's true. And there actually have been some very good recent Mickey Mouse cartoons that I think are very funny, but in the Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse series. But that's because they kind of like Ren and Stimpy'd up Mickey Mouse a little bit. Like he's not gross, but it is that kind of animation.
Well, they went back to sort of the anarchic spirit of the really early ones.
Yeah, when Mickey was kind of a dick,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but he just made music by hurting animals.
Yeah, that sounds twisted.
Yeah, actually, the original Mickey was pretty twisted, you know?
He was more apt to like pull a revolver on someone than you
Yeah.
would think from knowing the Disney company today. But
There was
Anyway.
also, the original Mickey Mouse, yeah, it's true. In the original cartoons, I think he was like a bootlegger, right, who ran like a criminal syndicate, and he killed people on camera.
I don't know about that, but I know that
Didn't he
like,
kidnap the Lindbergh baby in the original
Dan.
cartoons?
certainly in like the Floyd Gottfredson comics, there was a lot of adventure and shoot ups and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to show people there's more to these characters than just making them shoot people, even though that's apparently what the original Mickey Mouse did. Here's some characters. Let's put them. They're in the public domain now. Let's figure out what to do with them. Okay, these are famous characters
it. Yeah, let's
that
do it.
everybody loves.
Yeah.
Number one, Tigger. Tigger's in the public domain now. How do you do it right?
Oh yeah, how do we do it right, Dan?
Show me real Dan, not Twisted Dirty D, who just makes the characters twisted.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Real Tigger. Yeah.
So what does he do? He bounces,
Mm-hmm.
flounces.
You know, he bounces and flounces, bouncy, flouncy. But that's in the Disney. The thing is, that song is in the Disney cartoon, which is
No,
not in the
that's
public
true.
domain.
No,
This is the original Tigger who's in the stories. Let me just look at this original email story. Oh wait, he's hurting animals to make music and pulling guns on people. No, he doesn't do that.
No, he's a kind of the hyperactive kid of the 100 Acre Woods.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do with like?
And wait, Can Winnie the Pooh be in this, or is he not?
Yes,
allowed?
Winnie the Pooh is also in the old version is in the public
Have you
domain,
not seen Blood and Honey where he totally is a
Oh
killer?
no, Dirty Dan is back.
Dirty
Oh,
D's
he's
back.
making twisted things. It feels like that was the first time when someone was like, wait a minute, if this is in the public domain, this child character can do killer things. That's what we can do,
Yeah.
and it opened the floodgates.
Yeah, what do you think? Did you like that one?
No, people kept asking us to do it on the podcast. I'm like, I don't want to even support this that much. It's just such a first idea, like edgelord dumb. Like, who cares?
Okay, so we're not going to do that. So, what is Tigger going to open up a small business? Is he going to go to school? Are we going to have a Paddington thing where a family adopts a Tigger and he's going to, I don't know, like teach him the meaning of love or happiness or something?
I think we have to. Yeah, that sounds pretty. I mean, that you could get that made, certainly. Yeah.
Yeah, if the family's like grumpy and dysfunctional, and then
The dad's like, I only care about work, and the mom's like, I'm addicted to painkillers, and the kids are like, well, we're already we have a band, and all we care about is our band, and then Tigger comes in and is like, hey,
looking at phones.
yeah, we're just all about screens. That's all we care about. And they're going to go on a last minute vacation, and society collapses while they're at the house, but then Tigger is with them.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I made it
Society
twisted
just
again.
collapsed. Yep.
Oh no.
I don't want to offend any Tigger partisans out there,
Okay.
but that's the character. Like, as a lifelong Eeyore, that's the character that irritates me the most in the 100 Acre Woods. Like, it's
Well, you know what? I wonder if Eeyore is in the public domain. What would you do with him?
We'll get Charlie Kaufman on the script because I feel like he'd have a real feeling for the material.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
What is it like?
It seems like you're really giving up a real opportunity for yourself, Dan, to advance your career by writing the Tigger movie, but give it to
No,
Charlie
but
Kaufman. Yeah.
Dan's in it for the love of the game here.
Yeah.
Eeyore.
The live of the Tig. Oh, the live of the Eeyore. Yeah. I forgot we're talking about Eeyore. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, maybe he carries a storm cloud with him wherever he goes, and he learns that he needs to find the place where he fits in. You know, he brings the rains to the desert with him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he uses
it's a
his
metaphorical tale of, leaning into the things that people try and shy away from, the sadness.
Maybe, maybe he
for
travels
good.
around and encounters people, and everybody's trying to cheer him up, and they end up getting in touch with what makes them happy in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's really nice. That's great. Yeah, I love it. That's a good way to handle
He
Eeyore.
takes the weight of the world onto his shoulders, his donkey shoulders, so you become happier.
So he's kind of like...
which are his shoulders? Like the front shoulders or the back shoulders?
That's a good point. He has 4 legs. Yeah.
I think the back shoulders are called the butt.
The butt shoulders. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So he's kind of a
it's
real
just-
Christ figure, Eeyore, in this reading of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, man, I think we're doing a great job here.
I think
And
we're
he's
doing
not-
great.
Is he a
Bang-up
killer?
job.
And
What?
then he kills people at the
Yeah, is
at the
he ever
end.
going to kill people?
At the end, he snaps because there's only so much a donkey can take.
My name's Doug Duguay, and I'm here to talk about my podcast in the middle of the one you're listening to. It's called Valley Heat, and it's about my neighborhood, the Burbank Rancho Equestrian District, the center of the world when it comes to foosball, frisbee golf, and high-speed freeway roller skating. And there's been a Jaguar parked outside on my curb for 10 months. I have no idea who owns it. I have a feeling it's related to the drug drop that was happening in my garbage can a little over a year ago. And if this has been a boring commercial, imagine 45 minutes of it. Okay, Valley Heat, it's on every month on MaximumFun.org or wherever you get podcasts. Check it out, but honestly, skip it.
These are the chronicles of the Rancho Equestrian District in Burbank, California. These are the events taking place in my house, around my house.
Hello, sleepyheads. Sleeping with Celebrities is your podcast pillow pal. We talk to remarkable people about unremarkable topics, all to help you slow down your brain and drift off to sleep. For instance, we have the remarkable Neil Gaiman.
I'd always had a vague interest in live culture, food preparation.
Sleeping with Celebrities, hosted by me, John Moe, on MaximumFun.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Night-night.
Before we get into the ads, I'd just like to say that if you go over to flophousepodcast.com/events, you're going to see some exciting new live shows over there. First, chronologically, on Sunday, March 31st, that's Easter Sunday, at the Bell House in Brooklyn, New York. We're going to be doing a show. Doors at 7 for a 7:30 p.m. show. So please come out to that Brooklyn show. I know we've been doing a lot of coastal shows, Midwest, my home region where I come from. I promise we are going to get to you. We're working on it, but we are doing our first, our own bookings for the first time in Flophouse history, and it is complex, but we hope to have you next on our tour list. But also, we are going to the UK for the first time. That's right. The Flophouse is hopping across the pond for 2 shows in Oxford, England on May the 24th at Oxford Town Hall as part of the brand new Oxford Podcast Festival. There will be an early show and a late show, one at 7 p.m. and one at 9 p.m. And we're going to be discussing 2 different movies, one at the early, one at the late. Right now, the plan is to talk about The Avengers, not the Marvel movie, the one from 1998 starring Ralph Fiennes and Uma Thurman. That is an adaptation of the beloved 60s British spy series of the same name. And also, we will be talking about Spice World, the Spice Girls movie. You don't need any more explanation. It's the Spice Girls. You know that movie. Which movie goes with which time is still undecided, but you're going to get a great show with either one. So again, please go over to flophousepodcast.com/events for all the information and ticket links for those shows in Brooklyn, New York on March the 31st and Oxford, England on May 24th. And you may notice that I'm talking for a long time without interruption. That's because I'm doing these ads on my own. We recorded a little early because Stuart was flying off to Australia. And so I said, I will drop in these ads once I get the ad copy, so you get to hear a lot of my voice. Speaking of my voice, you know, when people think of me, they think of microdosing. You've probably heard of microdosing. If not, just know that all sorts of people are microdosing to feel healthier and perform better. And microdose gummies deliver perfect entry-level doses of THC that help you feel just the right amount of good. And, you know, I like feeling just the right amount of good. I'll tell you, I don't know. I've said it before. I feel like sometimes I'm a person prone to a lot of stress and feeling overwhelmed. And these microdose gummies have really helped with a lot of that. And maybe they will help you. So you can get 30% off your first order plus free shipping today at microdose.com. Promo code FLOP. It's available nationwide. That's microdose.com. Promo code FLOP for 30% off and free shipping. Microdose.com. Promo code FLOP. Also, we're sponsored in part by Babbel. 1 in 5 Americans have learn a new language on their bucket list. If that's you, make 2024, you finally check it off the list with Babbel. And if it's on your bucket list, check it off early. Because if you go through all the trouble of learning a new language, then you die, who are you going to talk to? Maybe in heaven, I don't know. It seems like up there's got to be some sort of universal translator. Anyway, I'm getting off the point. The point is, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are designed by over 150 language experts to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Babbel's tips and tools are approachable, accessible, rooted in real-life situations, and delivered with conversation-based teaching so you're ready to practice what you've learned in the real world. Babbel has over 10 million subscriptions sold. Plus, all of Babbel's 14 language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. And if you're anything like me, maybe you took languages in high school and college. Maybe you took them for several years and got to a point of middling competency and would like to bring that competency back and build on it. Babbel is a great way to do it. Here's a special limited time deal for our listeners. Right now, get 55% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners. Hoard it for Flophouse listeners at babbel.com/flop, spelled BABBEL.com/flop. Rules and restrictions may apply. And we also have, yes, a lot of my voice. We also have a Jumbotron. Jumbotron. Hello, fellow Flop fans. Do you enjoy listening to absurd role-playing based comedy and complex webs of stupid jokes that build and recur across episodes? I do too. That's why I love the Flophouse. But might I also offer for your listening pleasure Legend Lark? What is Legend Lark, you ask? Uh-oh. It's an actual play, tabletop, role-playing podcast, my friend. Listen to the show that no one is calling The Taking of Pelham 123 a podcast. Find us on your podcaster at legendlark.com. And there's a call to action that's specific for you, the Flophouse fans. For discerning fans of the Flophouse classic Bratz, I recommend starting with the short H-Rose Camp arc. Yes, H-Rose. It looks like horse, except for the O and the R have been transposed. Anywho, back to the show.
Here's another thing that's in the public domain now.
Mhm.
The play of Peter Pan.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Certainly what the world needs is more adaptations of Peter Pan.
Mhm.
All right, so
Hey.
you're doing it right, Dan, by not doing it. You're right. Sometimes the only way to win the game is not to play, as we learned from War Games. Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
I have to say, like, this is a story that I have no affinity for. I find it, like, weird and creepy.
Yeah, you said
Interesting.
And-
you like it less when they removed all the racist songs from the cartoon.
That stuff's not in the public domain. But so,
Okay.
Dan, so it's interesting, Dan, that the guy who is the grown man who has no children himself and spends a lot of time watching cartoons doesn't have an affinity for Peter Pan. It's interesting. And the guy who might remind you that you are chased by a pirate all the time.
Elliot, we hate the flaws we see in ourselves. So
Oh, that's
I don't think it's
fair.
I
that
think that's
weird.
true, actually.
But also, like, so many, like, I don't want to grow up filmmakers have made their version of Peter Pan over the years, and
Mhm.
they're almost all bad. Like, there's a couple of good ones hidden in there, but or ones that have good parts and then not so great parts.
That's fair. That's fair. It's kind of burned over material. It's been done. So how about this? So here's
But what
this
about Bangarang, Dan?
What about Bangarang?
What about Rufio and those guys in Hook?
those are not in the public domain.
This is
I think you'll find they're not in the original text of
This is a
Peter Pan.
generational fight that I think I've just given up on. Like, you know what? People a little younger than me, go ahead and love your Hook if you want to.
What I found is that Hook is to me as Space Jam is to the generation after mine, where it's like, well, this is the thing I have a nostalgic sentimentality for that. Also, I'll say it's good, even though objectively it's got issues. It's not
Yeah,
that good.
yeah.
So here's a property that people have been waiting to get into public domain for a long time, so they can finally get their hands on it. That's Memoirs of a Fox Hunting Man by Siegfried Sassoon.
Of course.
And so, Dan, how would you handle this one?
Now,
Is Max Mouse in this, or is it just Sly Like Fox?
It's funny that you're pretending that you don't know that this is a series of episodes in the youth of George Shurston, who goes from youth to slightly older maturity, dealing with fixtures of wealthy village life. There's a cricket match, there's a fox hunting thing, that kind of stuff.
well, certainly
In the years before World War I, it's the innocence of the pre-World War I world.
for
You
a
didn't have to
film-
add that part. I knew exactly what you were talking about. Eric.
Yeah, we all of
You're right.
course knew this, but I think
I want to remind you
um,
that Siegfried Sassoon, also the poet of World War I, is not Vidal Sassoon, the hairstylist.
Okay, well,
I don't know
that's
if they're
going to
related.
amend my response
gonna
here.
change
Yes,
things
because
a little
I've
bit.
tried to figure out Vidal Sassoon's thoughts on World War I. I cannot find them when I do in my research.
Mhm.
So with this fox hunting man, I think for a modern film, the first thing that we want to do is minimize the fox hunting.
Okay,
Because-
interesting.
It is both a cruel relic and a symbol of the upper class that probably wouldn't play as well. So we're going to take the fox hunting out. What was the other things that we could focus on? Like
Cricket?
being in a village, cricket.
Yeah.
Sure,
I
cricket.
mean,
the world's
explaining
most
the rules of
exciting
cricket to
sport.
a non-cricket fan that's a movie in and of itself. Like, that's a lot of information.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, cricket seems to me to be like the sports equivalent of like a tabletop game
Yeah,
with a
it's-
lot of
It's Calvin Ball.
A lot of rules. Just a lot of rules. in it.
rules, a lot of
And
like I feel
funny
like
names.
someone's explaining like math to me somehow.
So it sounds like we would adapt it mainly as kind of a humorous guide to cricket to the American. All right.
Is Goofy in the public domain? We can get him
No,
to do one of those
Unfortunately, Goofy is
explanation
not, but yeah.
cartoons
to
that they
cook
I
used
don't
to
know.
do. Yeah.
With fox hunting, I mean, I feel like you can make it fun, like that video game Duck Hunt, where you have like a dog who laughs at you when you miss.
No, that was a very different.
the fox kills the hunters, man.
No, Dirty
no.
Dan is back.
Oh,
Turn
man.
the tables on them.
Oh, he dragged himself out from under
What if
that
the
coffee
fox has
table.
a chainsaw?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a tough one. But now we'll
Mm-hmm.
get to one. Again, this is another property people have been really hoping would get into the public domain for a long
Yeah.
time now. This is Coming of Age in Samoa by Margaret Mead. This is a nonfiction book,
Right.
subtitled
Okay.
Psychological Study of Primitive Youth for Western Civilization, about kind of the growth and sexual development of adolescent girls
Yeah.
in Samoa. Now, I'm sure there are many questions now about the underlying science of this book, but Warner Brothers has been trying to make a movie out of it for years. So, Dan, how
Yeah.
would you handle this one?
Okay, Margaret Mead, of course, famous sociologist, I guess you would like, or
Sure, yeah.
just like social anthropologist.
Yeah.
I mainly know her through the fact that she gets lampooned and has a song in Hair,
Okay.
a musical that I was in.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember. Back in
College.
college, Dan was the lead in the production of Hair.
Oh,
He was
you
the-
know, I
He
would say
played the
that
hair.
Stuart mentions it more than me.
He's
at
the
this
only
point. I would-
he's the only one whose wiener you don't see. But
That's
that's
how
the
I was
thing. Like,
billed.
leave him wanting more. That's Dan's kind of the whole thing.
Yeah, in the playbook
Wiener?
says the one who's
Question mark?
Oh, so it's like at the end of Frankenstein when it says the monster question mark because they didn't want people to know it was a person and not a real
Mhm.
monster.
Yeah.
So that's my main association. So I guess we could adapt that song. I guess that's not in the
No,
public
not in the
domain,
public
though.
domain. Okay, I'm
I
gonna.
mean, this is what we run
okay.
into.
You're gonna get a point deficit for that. You're off the
Okay.
board. And now I'm making it a game. You know what? I wasn't planning on it, but it's a game now. Dan, you have negative. Actually, you're back at zero because
man.
your Eeyore stuff was really good.
Okay.
And then
I mean,
Stu-
I think doing like a little slice of life kids growing up in Samoa thing, like that's a huge hit. Like that's like that's right up like all the streamers' alleys. It targets,
Yeah.
you know,
They would
like a
love
YA demographic. You get some young hard bodies, put them under the sun. That's a thumbs up from Dan McCoy.
I don't know why you keep trying to paint me this way. I don't care for it.
So now the score right now, because I've decided it's a game, is we're tied
Okay.
at 1-1 because I forgot Dan did some good work earlier. So
you.
we're tied at 1-1. This is going to be an easy one though. You guys are going to knock this out of the park.
Okay,
How are we
sure.
going to adapt? It's now in the public domain. The book West Running Brook by Robert Frost. This is a book of poems. I'll just read you a little bit. Here's one. This is from the poem "The Freedom of the Moon." I've tried the new moon tilted in the air above a hazy tree and farmhouse cluster, as you might try a jewel in your hair. I've tried it fine with little breath of luster, alone or in one ornament combining with one first water star almost as shining. So adapt. We got to make it into a movie. How do we make that the first chapter of the Robert Frost
So
verse?
here's what there's this West Running Brook
Okay.
who wishes that it had the freedom of the moon to travel where it wanted and not go west running, but go east running. It thinks that the moon has freedom because it sees it in the air, but then ultimately it realizes the moon only travels one direction as well. And sometimes, you know, we're set on a path in life that may not be the one that we wanted originally, but we have to find meaning and beauty in it.
You know what, Dan?
The end.
I like it, and you know what I like even more? You can shoehorn a pop song into that real easy.
Yeah.
Like you could shoehorn,
Mhm.
like Billie Eilish or someone does like a
Yeah.
sad song or like
Yeah.
a, you know, that, or Lady Gaga does one of her like more standards type songs, you know?
Yeah.
I think great job. That's a great job in that. Stuart, I'm going to give you another one from that book because Dan just totally ate your lunch on that one. So this is
I
a poem
didn't
called.
even get a chance, but that's okay.
This one I think might be more along your lines. This is from Canis Major. It says, "The great overdog, that heavenly beast with a star in one eye, gives a leap in the east." Stuart, what are you going to do with this overdog?
I mean, I'm gonna say we're looking at a AMC original series,
Okay.
Yellowstone style drama western about a giant dog in the east.
Okay, great.
It's
a Western, but the dog is in the east.
There's
Well,
when
it's
you're
an
in the
eastern
west,
dog
there's
that
still an
travels
east.
west. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
It's called Overdog Goes West. I see.
But it's
yeah.
one of those things where you have where you use the poetry mainly as episode titles and maybe like bookends for episodes. But
Or like a quote at the beginning that
Thank
becomes
you.
significant later on.
not
Yeah,
something attributed
okay.
to one of the characters. That doesn't make sense, but who knows? I think because people love that shit.
They
You
do
know,
love that
they love
shit.
TV.
I
They
love TV.
do love that tea. You guys both did a great job. Okay, this is one. So this one I'm going to give to Dan. Also, it's another poem from West Riding Brook.
Great.
It's called "The Bear." I'm just going to read you a little bit, and then I'm going to cut down. This goes, okay. The bear puts both arms around the tree above her and draws it down as if it were a lover, and its choked cherry's lips to kiss goodbye, then lets it snap back upright in the sky. And then running down a little bit, let's see, here we go. Or if he rests from scientific tread, 'tis only to sit back and sway his head through 90-odd degrees of arc, it seems, between two metaphysical extremes. He sits back on his fundamental butt, with lifted snout and eyes, if any, shut. He almost looks religious, but he's not. And back and forth he sways from cheek to cheek, at one extreme agreeing with one Greek, at the other agreeing with another Greek, which may be thought, but only so to speak. So, Dan, you might obviously have, this is a pervy one that mentions a butt, so I
Yeah.
figured this is for you. It's a bear in a
No.
tree. Make it work.
I was gonna say, like, this seems like you targeted this to me because there's a lot of butt content in here.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna largely steer clear of the butt element of this one and make it more
The
of
butt
sort
element
of
starring Bruce Willis and Mia Jovovich.
yeah.
We figured out.
It's
So the-
love.
It's
love.
earth, fire, air, water, butts.
Mhm.
Turns out the butt element was butt all along.
It turns out the final element was butts.
Shoulda.
Mm,
There's
Corbutt Dallas.
no secret.
Dallas is spelled with two S at the end. Like
Yeah, of course.
No,
yeah.
it's gonna be
And
sort
Gary
of,
Oldman is like, I should have brought my hair from Dracula. It looks like a butt. Then I would have won whatever the thing is I'm trying to get in this
Harry
movie.
Buttman. Yeah.
Gary
oh,
Buttman.
hello, I'm Harry Buttman.
I'm a parody of Gary Oldman, but I think I have to explain that because I'm a little far removed from the original.
I'm gonna turn
And you
this
do have a
into sort of
reservation, sir? Yes, I do. It's under Buttman.
B-U-T. No, I understand.
They're like,
I
if you
understand.
wanted to be closer and still somewhat butt related, you could have been Gary Holeman. But that's a little, that's not kind of the, I don't know.
It sounds more like I'm the whole man, complete in and of myself, and I'm here on a date, so clearly I'm looking for my other half. Anyway, has she arrived? She knows the reservation is under Buttman. Oh, actually, I'm so sorry, sir. We gave your reservation away to the Howard Stern character, Butt Fart Man. we made a mistake. We misread it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Bartman was here earlier and we misunderstood.
Well, let me see who's saying there. Oh, it's Gutman from the Maltese Falcon. I'm so sorry, sir.
He told us to do his titular dance, and we all.
We did the Bartman, and then we had to eat his shorts. An unpleasant experience.
Anyway,
And with an eye carumba, he raced out of the place. Do you guys
he
remember
saw the Bart
you guys,
symbol.
You guys remember when The Simpsons first started? They wanted to merchandise the hell out of it, and they did
Yeah.
only had really a season or less of a show. So like Bart always says "I carumba," and he always says "Eat my
He
shorts."
always
That's what he
will.
always says. He always will say
Yep.
that.
And
within,
while we were planning on having a cow, he begged us not to.
Only the men, though.
so Dan, this poem it's a bear in a tree, and it's a metaphor
That's
for
what
something in life.
I
Yeah.
was
So
gonna.
yeah,
We're gonna take it in sort of a Lars and the Real Girl direction, where this bear
bears in the
has
real
this
butt.
romance with this tree, and all the other bears in the community sort of indulge it, but hope that the bear will move on to another bear at some point.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sort of a quirky indie woodland comedy.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Not twisted at all. I like it.
Not at all twisted. Okay. So guys, it's finally in the public domain. That's right. Mac
Yep.
the Knife, the song. But what's not in the
Okay,
public
But
domain
not Mac Tonight.
is not
but
Mac
Burger King.
Tonight. I wanted to make this
Oh,
very clear.
fuck.
So
Oh,
you
man,
got to
mind
make something
empty
with the
now.
character of Mac the Knife, but he cannot have a giant moon for his head. He can't play piano. Can't wear sunglasses. Maybe he can wear sunglasses. But he doesn't
don't-
work for McDonald's.
I don't watch Seth Meyers, but I've seen enough clips that I'm like, maybe I should. I'd seen one. Apparently, he talked about Mac Tonight a lot, and like people sent in a bunch of Mac Tonight memorabilia to him that he was very distressed by. He's like, why did I don't?
Yeah,
want
This
Wait,
is
you
something I
watched
find very funny
Tonight.
about fans of things where they're like, you mentioned this thing. You must love it.
Yeah. It's like when your aunt finds out you like turtles. So every time she sees you, she brings you like a little turtle figurine. And you're like, now I have like an entire wall of turtle figurines. And the
Yeah.
thing is, I still love turtles.
Now
Seth,
imagine
Seth,
if
if you're listening, you can send me the Mac Tonight stuff. I'll keep it.
Dan would love it. Yeah, because imagine if instead of turtles, it's Mac Tonight, and instead you have millions of ants who watch you every night
Yeah.
on television. So Dan,
What was
so
the
what are you going to do
question?
with
Sorry,
Mac the Knife? He's a guy with a
Okay.
knife. His name's
Uh-huh.
Mac Heath, but you can just call him Mac if you want.
Yes. What do we know about this guy? Something named McKeith here.
Mhm.
Something.
He doesn't
something.
have a knife. He is
Mac
the
the
knife,
knife.
right?
Yeah, so that's the thing, Stuart. I like where you're taking this. That he is not a guy with a knife, but is a knife. Like he's a half man, half knife, or he's the
Oh,
knife that someone
okay,
else uses.
sure.
Yep.
Maybe it's a Pixar type thing about knives. I'm a contestant now. Now I'm in the game and I'm suggesting
wow.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
please.
I was gonna say maybe he's like a Razor Boy in Shadowrun. He's some kind of street samurai who's, trying to fill up his cred stick with Nuyen from the Megacores. But the thing is, he's operating outside the law. He's sinless. He doesn't have.
I mean, to be
he
that
doesn't
off,
have an identification number.
This is not
So
that different from the plot of the Three Penny Opera, to be honest.
yeah.
Or is it like, that 90s slang about like macking on someone? Like it's
So you
about
kiss
a
managing
knife?
a knife?
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty intense. That's pretty twisted, Danny D. Dirty Danny D.
It just comes natural to me.
But I want to go with mine where it's about he's a knife, but he wants to be a fork or something like that. He's got to learn
Sure.
how it's good to be a knife. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Randy
Yeah.
Newman is like, "'Cause you got
Be
a friend
yourself."
in knives." Yeah. Oh, when you're made a certain way at the factory, that's what you got to be. That sounds more like Springsteen, but
Making the cut.
Okay, so we're running late, running long. So
okay.
we're just gonna go to
Well,
everyone's.
tell the affiliates.
Yeah, we're gonna be going over. We're gonna have to push back the news. And Huey Lewis. Who hosts the local news now.
Yeah.
I'm
He'd
Huey
be
Lewis.
great at it.
I'm Huey Lewis, and here's the
I'm
news.
Huey Lewis.
I'm Huey Lewis. I absorbed the
new
news
Huey
into
Lewis.
me. I expanded like Tetsuo at the end of Akira and absorbed the rest of the news into me. So I'm now
Yeah.
Huey Lewis of the new flesh. So guys, here's that character we've all been excited about. He's in the public domain. I mentioned him
Yeah.
before. I'm going to mention him again. That's right, Mr. Bletzworthy on Rampole Island. How are you going to make a franchise out of this guy?
On Ram Hole
No,
Island?
Rampole Island, Dan.
Okay.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Dirty D.
That's what I thought I heard.
Rampole
I mean,
Island.
you hear Mr. Bloodsworthy, there's only one actor who can bring that guy to life, and that's Tom Hanks. So slap that dude in that role.
Okay.
Bloodsworthy Island, that sounds awesome. Maybe it's like a tropical paradise. You got Tom Hanks just hanging out wearing, resort wear, making friends.
Resort wear. Like in Castaway when he's just wearing resort wear the whole time.
Yeah, and maybe some local like drug smugglers get involved, and he has to trick them and save Ramhole Island. Yeah, it makes sense.
Now my mishearing. Now I feel like my way of using this has to be to make $1 million, of course, off of the porn parody everyone's been waiting for, Mr. Buttsworthy on Ramhole Island.
I'm glad, Dan, you avoided butts so much in that previous Robert Frost
Yeah.
one, but now you're all over it. Okay, so
Coming home.
So how are you doing a porn parody of what Stuart just came up with?
Oh, I wasn't.
Tom
listening.
Hanks can't be in the porn parody. He's
Disney
contractually-
owns his image as Geppetto, so they could. I guess
Okay.
if they use that, they could do it.
Yeah.
If Disney is like, in order to make Disney Plus profitable, we will have to start showing porn on it. So we will be producing it with our characters. They don't have to be in the public domain anymore to have sex with each other. We're doing that now. We've hired as our new head of content, Dirty D.
We've heard
Dirty
what
D,
you want.
Dirty D, please tell us what our characters are going to be doing right now on Disney Plus XX.
Just doing it, man. All the characters, all your favorite characters. You ever wonder if they do it? Well, they do it. They do it on Disney XX.
And who's some of these characters? Like the hit
I don't
characters
know,
from
man. Daisy's like a girl duck, and
Yeah.
she, does
Daisy
things
and
with.
the fucking dad from Inside Out. Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
crushing it.
Finally,
I don't
you can
even
see
like doing this anymore. This
the
is
rescuers.
grosser.
You better believe they're going down under.
Yeah,
Finally, all the
there.
characters. Finally, all the characters from Treasure Planet are going to be doing it. All your favorite Disney characters.
I mean, yeah, I feel like Dan's lived in that
I
world
mean-
so long, Elliot, that us bringing it up, we're like expecting him to be excited, but he's like so jaded at this point.
it's not even a joke to him anymore. It's not a
People
joke. He's
are
like,
horny for those Robin Hood foxes. Now's your chance,
Yeah.
I guess, to see them.
to what? To have sex with them? I don't. Dan, that's not how it works.
That's the premium
Yeah, you get a little VR
Little
headset.
extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney Plus VR. I see. Okay.
Disney Plus.
Well, I guess we
Because if you
figured
turn
out.
those pluses on their side, they're X's. Anyway.
Oh, I see. That's his TED talk about it. He goes, "Hey, let's take these pluses and turn them on their sides." Disney
What?
X. That's the power of imagination. So, guys, I guess we
That's
kind
the
of.
power of imagination.
Oh, it's
I'm
Huey Lewis. It's Huey Lewis.
Anyway.
So, guys, I wanted this episode to be to us showing that you can do other things with public domain characters besides make them have sex with each other, and I failed. That's the only thing you can
It's
do.
the only thing.
All they can do is
scientifically.
Every road takes us back there.
we
It's
prove-
almost as if
The
original
limits
stories.
of human imagination.
It's almost as if original stories don't need to be reimagined or recreated or even adapted, and we should focus on creating new things, enriching that cultural clay with new ideas that can then spur new inspirations rather than just taking everybody's old stuff and reusing it again.
Yeah.
Or, yes,
What?
we have no bananas. Alex, hit it. All right, everybody. Yes, we have no bananas. is going to play us out because let's stick with the old stuff. I guess the only thing you do is have characters kill or do each other, and there's no new ideas under the sun. It's impossible. So let's use that public domain stuff. This has been a self-defeating Flophouse Mini. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, please send all your letters to Dirty Dan McCoy, care of Max Fun.
I'll eat them.
He's so hungry, everybody. He's so twisted. He doesn't know what to do with letters.
Normally, people read letters, but I eat them.
Like, he's so twisted, he does his things backwards. He's like, I go to sleep in a bathtub and I take a bath in a bed.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
twisted.
bizarre. Oh, yeah. Bad bye, everybody.
So, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this show, or even if you didn't, please leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast app you use.
If you're recommending an episode to listeners, new listeners, maybe not this one.
Maybe not this one.
This one works best if once you have affection for us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Max Fun Drive is coming up next month. Please don't judge us based on this episode and pay accordingly. Please, thanks to our editor and producer, Alex Smith. He goes by Howell Doughty online and does a lot of great stuff. He does a lot of good work for us, like putting Yes, We Have No Bananas, hopefully in the background while I'm talking, or else this is not going to work, Alex. I would be very upset if I listen to this later and Yes, We Have No Bananas is not
Wow.
playing the original version
Give
of
him
it.
give him a chance to succeed before you
That's fair.
start
That's fair.
attacking him for failure.
Yeah.
But this has been The Flophouse. We'll be back next week talking about a movie. For the time being now, though, I am Elliot Kalin. I've been joined by...
Dan McCoy.
And Stuart Wellington.
Keep making that IP, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, don't stop believing.
We have no bananas today. You got a strawberry pie?
Yes, I don't think we got strawberry pie.
You got a coconut pie?
Yes, I don't think we got coconut pie.
Maximum Fun,
A worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
supported
directly
by you.